Welcome everyone for the AI Nation podcast. In this episode, we welcome Bayern Kapital. From our guests here, we have Francisco and we have Matias. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having us. Nice
Happy to be here. Thanks.
Really cool. Before we jump into what Bayern Kapital actually is, we'd love to learn more about you guys. I've checked out a bit on your LinkedIn and whatever, and I realized you've been both at Bayern Kapital for 4 years. Do you work together a lot? Did this happen at the same time?
Not anymore, actually, but we started together 4 years ago. But now we are in different teams, actually.
Yeah. But you're still working closely.
So we are the one person talking to the startups and we are their key account. Like we don't have any deal team in a day-to-day business. We have an exchange, of course, between our colleagues when we are talking about some experiences we make in the portfolio.
So you're both investment managers, yeah? Francisco, how did it start from your side? How did you get into the job? Why did you choose to go this route? And what do you do? But first, how did you?
What do I do, actually? I joined Bayern Kapital 4 years ago. As I said, I have a business administration background. And before, I worked in a corporate in Munich and did a lot of corporate law issues. I was responsible for the subsidiaries of the company and did some M&A projects. And I think venture capital is really an interesting topic in the finance sector. And so I started to work for Bayern Kapital 4 years ago because I think it's very interesting. I have 6 companies in my portfolio. At the moment, they are operating in various sectors, actually, and I think that's the cool thing about Bayern Kapital, because Bayern Kapital invests in various sectors, so from life science to software to hardware, and that's really cool.
Really, really nice. So you're super interested in the broad range of Bayern Kapital and the tech sector.
Because you get to know so many business models, different business models and different types of founders and teams, and that's really cool.
What is on your side? What was your journey? Why did you end up at Bayern Kapital?
Yeah, actually, the first time I heard about venture capital was during my studies in the university. And I also have a business administration background. And my professor told me about that during the lectures. And that was the first time I heard about it. And I was really excited about this field of finance, I would say, and financing. And in the end, that was my dream, that I want to work in this industry. And afterwards, I did my master thesis and worked as a working student at a CVC in Nuremberg. And I didn't get started in this industry. I was in the consulting company before. However, after 3.5 years at the consulting company, I joined Bayern Kapital, and since then I work there as an investment manager. And I only can, say the same about the work and my drive, as I'm also interested in technology and entrepreneurship, and it's really fascinating to work with founders to experience this joy and the spirit they have, and to work together with them on something new is really, really interesting. And
this is literally like you compare the amount of teams you work with. It's basically the more workload is for on your side.
I mean, we have like a maximum of 8 portfolio companies. You cannot handle any more, actually, if you really want to work with the teams.
Very nice. So that's a good point. Then what do you literally do? Like, what can you handle? And you support the teams that are in your portfolio? Which way?
There are many different ways, actually. So we often are in the board as observer or board member. And so you have this regular meetings on a monthly basis. We support with our network. We support with investors contact in fundraising, actually. So we have a really big network.
Yeah, also as a sparrings partner, for example, if they need something, or if, for example, we want to hire someone, how can we maybe structure the hiring process? Or we have this challenge. Do you have something in your portfolio, or do you have a solution in mind? who had this before, so we don't have to come up with a new solution. And so we help with our experience or with the experience of Bayern Kapital as a whole, when there are some challenges, as I mean, every starter is facing challenges every time, and therefore we are there to help and to support them.
I really love this. Like, you love tech, you love the support, you want to help them, you love the tech sector, like the venture capital approach. This is your way of helping the teams. Yeah, really, really nice. So much from a bit of who you guys are. Let's talk a bit about Bayern Kapital in general. Yeah, 30 years of Bayern Kapital now. Yeah, I think that's now your pitch. What it is really amazing. I can throw out all the info I got, but I think that's your take. Yeah. Can you explain to us, for the listeners, what Bayern Kapital does, who you are, a bit of the startups that have been supported?
We are actually a public investor, so we are the venture capital arm of the Free State of Bavaria. We invest in tech startups, B2B business cases, and we invest in various sectors, so from life science, software, hardware, aerospace, defense.
Fusion tech, so everything tech related is in our investment focus. Yeah, fund assistance. And also, I mean, AI is also a big topic right now.
But do you see that as a horizontal that taps into everything, or do you see it as a separate branch, basically, the AI aspect? We are AI Nation here. Yeah, I need to dive into that.
No, it's actually in every branch. So it's also very industry agnostic. I mean, there are solutions in every type and in every industry. Therefore, yeah, I mean, you have the generalistic models like ChatGPT or something like that, which can be used in every company. But the companies really, VC and we are investing, have their own solutions in the end.
Bayern Kapital supported startups now for 30 years. How many exactly?
We invested over the last 30 years in 380 startups overall. Yeah.
Any insight about the volume?
The volume, yeah, we had 680 million euros deployed.
Really, really nice. Yeah. In what range? So, like, if I'm a startup, when do you start investing? How long? How much? The ticket size, basically, do you support?
Yeah, we can start really early, actually, in the pre-seed or seed stage, depending on the industry. We invest starting with a ticket from 250K up to 50 million per company.
Can you give some insights in the amount of teams that you have in each bracket?
We have 120 startups right now in our portfolio, which we are actively managing. And so I don't have the numbers ready, how much in which part, but we have like at least 5 in every industry, I would say.
And I think we have around 30% life science startup, actually.
There's something we see as well, like health tech topics, life sciences, really big numbers that we had in the past few years in AI Nation as well. Yeah, so, okay.
Really ramping up in this industry. Also with AI, as you have some patterns you could easily recognize when it comes to disease, for example.
Is this something you see as a local phenomenon, like from Bavaria, or a general?
Bavaria has a really good life science sector, actually, because you have the EZB in Martinsried. There are a lot of startups. You have Würzburg.
Yeah, especially Würzburg was, I think, last year one of the big hubs. We saw a lot of startups coming from there.
From your perspective, Bayern Kapital is a public VC arm, basically. Do you see a difference to a non-public one, yeah?
Actually not. I mean, we have a single LP, but you have that as well in some other VCs, that there is a single LP. And therefore, we have no other investment approach or something like that. So we are acting like a private fund.
You're market-driven as well, yeah?
Yes, also market-driven. We're also looking for an exit strategy. We also want growth in the startup. So
yeah, you can say that we invest on the same terms as the private investors. So standard VC terms. Yeah.
Can you provide us with some insights in that regard? So, what is from Bayern Kapital's perspective, an interesting VC case in general?
Yeah, you have a unique idea with a technical USP. and you have a complement founder team, so you can work together. You have the different, the knowledge is there, and everyone is incentivized. So no founder has only like 1 or 2% of the shares, for example.
Scalable business model.
I was waiting for that one. But these are the topics we screen as well. Like how does the team composition, how is the scalability, uniqueness, the moat? Yeah, can you defend what you're trying to do? And this is what you screen for as well. Like,
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise the business model or the company could be overrun overnight, and it's not there anymore.
So, from your perspective, where do you see the differentiation between what you do as a venture capitalist in comparison to, for instance, an angel investor? Where would you position yourselves? The benefits, pros, cons? Do you have an intake in that?
Business angel are usually in the pre-seed and seed phase, and I think they are very hands-on. They can provide a great network. Most business angel were former entrepreneurs, so they can share the knowledge. And I think for pre-seed and seed startups, it's really valuable to go with business angel. We also do financing rounds with business angels, have a really good network, and yeah,
especially the experience they bring at the table is very valuable, and to work together with them, with our view of scaling and their perspective with experience and failures they made maybe in the past, so the founders now don't make them again, is a very good cooperation, I would say.
So you work together as an individual, Francisco, yourself, and you work still with the business angels directly, yeah? So you have a good idea of who you can work with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's something that we see a lot as well, like from our perspective. So when should we go to an angel? What's about VCs? And yeah, you need someone you can trust. It's something important that you can work with because the journey is a long one. And you see that as well especially as Bayern Kapital, I guess, like the long-term collaboration between all the stakeholders involved.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we always say it's a marriage on time. So you need to look at who you are working with the next maybe 5, 6, 7 years, and therefore, you need to check it as well, and not only as a VC but also as a founder. So they should do their due diligence as well on VCs and investors. Are those the people I want to work with in the next few years?
Perfect point you made. When we talk about red flags, like the cap table is one thing, a cap table. When you talk about red flags, the cap table is something really important. Where do you see other red flags popping up when you work with startups? Things like, hey, avoid that. It's a bit like what kind of recommendations you would throw out, even if teams are not yet under VC support, let's say like that. Yeah, so don't make these mistakes early. Yeah, because you realize.
I think a very important topic is the IP. So the IP has to be in the company. You need to take care of that because it is also in the long term. If you think of the exit, it's very important that you have the IP in the company, actually. And I think you should take care if you do some kind of cooperations with universities. There are often projects, and there you need to take care of who the IP belongs to, if is the IP transferred in this project, because that's really important.
Yeah, and also, is my business model actually financeable? The VC track, the right track I need to take, for example, because not every business model needs to be financed by venture capital. There could also be bootstrapping. This could also be the right way to finance your business. And this is also a question a founder should ask, or a founder team should ask themselves before starting a fundraise. Yeah, another red flag could also be not be finance ready. Like, okay, and do you have any more homework to do? Like setting up a data room, or preparing documents, a pitch deck, something else. So be finance ready. So prepare yourself for questions for every step in the fundraise. Otherwise, this could also be a signal that you're not professional in the end.
And I think it's also important if you look at the stage of a company, because you need other KPIs in the seed phase as in the Series A phase. So do you need more traction for the Series A fundraising? Do you have the attractive KPIs for fundraising? Otherwise, it's really, really difficult to find new investors also in later stages.
Can you highlight some for? I will put a bit of a focus on the pre-seed stage because of our grant program, of course. Where would you put the highlights of? These are the really important KPIs. For instance, the topic of the data room. There's something I think a lot of teams don't really understand, that you really have to showcase everything data-wise. Because So, what are your highlights?
KPI-wise, in the early stage, I mean, you don't show much finance traction. In this case, show some traction in your pipeline. Or do you have first customers already trying your product? Can we speak with one of them? Like have a reference call. And in the end, these are then KPIs which are somehow measurable. And you can show to the investors, especially if you have a software product. A software product is like, you don't need that much development time like in a med tech or drug development startup or fusion tech or space tech. And therefore, these are the numbers we are looking at in the end, in the beginning, also in a pre-seed stage. And regarding the data room, this is very important, as you need to provide nearly everything you have. As we need to know everything in the company. We get to know it afterwards anyhow. If you are a shareholder, then we get the information. And therefore, we need to check it beforehand so we don't have any surprises afterwards.
Yeah, I also think it's important to mention, if you want to be financed by venture capital in the pre-seed phase, you should have at least proof of concept and not only a concept and nothing more. So that would be very important for us in the pre-seed phase. Otherwise, you would not be ready for venture capital.
Do you have a specific how you define proof of concept from your perspective? It's a bit of a hard topic. I bet some people understand different things, like what you really prove. Like, is it market traction in that regard, or is it technological? So, like, where do you put the focus?
Actually, it depends also a little bit on the business model. And this, if you do hardware, software, it depends actually on the case.
In a software company, you look at really market traction. Is the product already used or not? For example, in a hardware case, you look maybe at, is there a prototype? Is the prototype working? And you may not have first customers, or is the customer willing to pay this price?
Let's now say I'm a startup and I want to apply for your support. How would I do that?
Yeah, you send a pitch deck. No, actually, you need
Please,
a pitch
let's
deck.
have a coffee first.
No,
Okay.
normally if you know someone, maybe you send the pitch deck to this investment manager. Otherwise, you have some platforms and you send a pitch deck, or we meet at a event, for example, and we are screening the pitch deck afterwards, and we are looking at everything in the pitch deck. Like, okay, is the business model?
May I interrupt you just for a short second? We'll screen the pitch deck afterwards. First, you want to get to know the people?
No, we are actually screening the pitch deck and looking, is this problem or is this solution something we want to invest in? And does it fit the investment criteria? I mean, we have some formal criteria, which is very important to us. Like, as we are the public investor of the Free State of Bavaria, we have a focus on Bavaria.
I just throw it in because I was wondering all the time. Do you invest only for companies that are founded in Bavaria or outside as well?
Also outside, but they need to have some value creation within Bavaria.
Okay.
So it's maybe some office where you have some developers, or you are opening your Europe office in Bavaria.
Okay.
So this would be value creation within Bavaria.
I think IQM is a very good example.
It's a company from Finland.
Thank you. But they have their R&D headquarter here in Munich.
We were able to invest in IQM like 3 or 4 years ago, and therefore this was okay for us. But you need to have something in Bavaria.
Okay. And value creation in Bavaria, this connects and ties.
Employees, not only a sales office, that's not enough, but some developers would be fine. And therefore, and also, is this a tech product? So as we are investing in B2B tech, there needs to be some technical USP. And we are looking at the pitch deck for these criteria. And afterwards, we want to get to know the founders as well.
Yeah. Okay. How do you do that? Are you already getting your startup that you support as an individual, Francis?
We're looking for a good team, a skilled team. First intro is often a Teams call. So it's a short Teams call, like 30 minutes, get to know the team, get to know the business case. And then after that, we also visit the team in Munich, actually, or where the offices are, because we want also to see, is there an office, is there a team, and we think it's an interesting case. Then we would start due diligence, actually, together with a private investor, because as Matias mentioned earlier, we cannot invest alone. We invest together with other private investors. And so due diligence would be kicked off if there are other private investors, if there's a syndicate.
Do you have a specific angle as each individual investment manager? Like, I'm strong in AI topics, I'm strong in fintech. Do you have something like that, a strategic angle, or is it more like a broad approach?
That's really a broad approach, because we invest in so many sectors. So I personally have one software startup and hardware startups and one life science startup. So it's really a mixture, and I think that's also really cool if you work for Bayern Kapital, because you can do almost everything you like.
However, we have some specialists. For example, in the life science area, we have some, as this is a very specific know-how you need to have when you're investing in those companies. And so we have their experience. If we as investment managers have some questions, we can go to them and say, hey, you know something about this topic, and most of the time they have.
Yeah, so maybe we have some deal teams in the life science investments. So there we work with deal teams.
When I was wondering, we are AI Nation, so like when the AI topic popped up now in the last few years, it's been on the road, of course, for a long time. The ChatGPT event, we all know that something changed in regard of accessibility. But do you see a specific difference, something you check out in specifically AI startups in general, like the core value proposition? Are you looking for really deep tech approaches from the tech, some unique problems, issues, GDPR topics? Do you have the specific, let's say, perspective on it?
I mean, the due diligence differs, of course, between the different companies you have, and in AI you need to look at something else than in medtech or life science. And yes, you have some specific topics you're looking at in the D. It's first of all, the whole code. So who is coding? I mean, it's the most important know-how you have. Is there any problem with GDPR? Of course, so regulatory. Also, EU AI Act is a big topic. But what is the product itself? Is it only a wrapper around a big GPT model with some APIs to any model you have out there? Or does it use proprietary data? Is there any moat you have against other models? Or can Microsoft tomorrow build just an agent and you are overruled by a big competitor in the end? So this uniqueness needs to be there, as AI is a very interesting but also a very fast moving topic, and therefore you need to have some USP, some uniqueness, and which defends your company against all the others out there.
How do you reach out for, I won't say proof, but how do you confront teams with that?
I mean, we are doing, of course, tech due diligences, and we're working there with partners which are experienced in this segment. And they are looking then deeper into that, like software architecture, the code, who's developing, documentation, stuff like that. And so we can make sure we have proof somehow also by a third party. For startups, in the end, this tech DD is also very valuable. At least we learned that from their feedback, because someone else is validating their product during the due diligence process. And this is also very helpful for them because their product got checked, and they need they know afterwards where they need to improve. And this is also pretty cool because you can implement this in the timeline and in the roadmap.
This might be one of the coolest things you said today. I think really the local ecosystem that we have in Bavaria, this is a pool of experts in AI hubs, is developing here in Munich in particular, but all around Bavaria. So you have a close connect to a lot of experts. You can bring it in, and it's not just a one-sided evaluation, but a collaboration in, hey, what you're doing is cool, or you might change that with this influx of expert knowledge, something we really want to bring in. So what's your perspective in the future of Bavaria, what's happening here tech-wise? Before we come to an end of the podcast, I'd love to hear a bit of, I don't want to say visionary statement, but more like, what do you see as a trend? I claim now Bavaria or Munich is developing an AI hub. This is just our perspective. What do you think from your perspective? What's happening?
I think Bavaria has a lot of deep tech potential, because the last years there were many interesting deep tech companies like Proxima Fusion, Marvel Fusion, IQM Planck. That's really, I think it's also because you have the top universities here in Bavaria. You have the top tech corporates here. You have a lot of great possibilities to employ really skilled people. I see Munich more as the tech hub here in Germany, actually.
So you see that even developing further? Clear yes. Clear yes, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a very strong environment in Munich. The high-tech agenda is now 30 years old. When we started 30 years ago, big start of this whole agenda. And I think now we harvest the fruits in the end, as we have a really good environment with former founders, now business angels. They are investing in the new founders, and they're supporting with their know-how. And therefore, we have a very good ecosystem in Munich, together with the universities, with some organizations like AI Nation or the Unternehmertum and stuff like that. So therefore, we have a very strong ecosystem created in Bavaria.
As a final question or a final thing to say, what is your individual perspective of what a founder should have in mind when they start something new now?
I mean, you have now all the opportunities and possibilities you need. So in my opinion, now is the time to start your company, to start your entrepreneurial journey. As you have the ecosystem, you have the support, you have the network, you have the technical tools, and therefore look for a problem you want to solve and go for it.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to focus on an actual problem which you can solve with your technology, not only to build cool features, but you have to address the customer's need and to create significant customer value with your product.
Last thing that is optional, we usually use the so-called rapid fire questions. Yeah, this is just a bit of random things to just throw in your answers. Totally open for it. Yeah, choose. Okay. One thing you see on and on this being done in pitch decks.
No product market fit.
unrealistic market volumes.
What's one trait you immediately look in a founder?
Is he coachable?
The biggest myth you need to kill immediately or usually about VC startups?
Venture capital is only about money.
When does your heart sometimes disagree with your spreadsheet while evaluating a team?
If you have really skilled founders, but it's no scalable business model.
What do you usually fall for more, charisma or the tech solution?
Charisma.
Tech solution is in most cases not a problem at all.
What makes you say this team's gonna make it?
Performing in every category. So like if they're working in a structured way and know their to-dos and their deadlines and they are always delivering on time.
And for me, it's also very important that the team talks really transparently to you.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Trust and be professional.
Yes.
Perfect takeaway. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you. Hope to see you around.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Okay.